About worn out.
AJ O'Connor.
Product placement.
Gatorade brought to you.
Ready?
Yeah, he said yep.
You said yep. Okay. 4 o'clock. Time to have the board meeting start. Have call to order and roll call.
Kevin Janaszek.
Ann Zimmerman.
Denny Walgren.
Bruce Richardson.
Larry Pencratz.
John Miller.
Okay, yep.
We should do the one before that, you know,
Yeah, the one before that. Request staff confirmation, the Kansas Open Meeting Act, required notice has been properly provided.
Yes, it was.
Has been? Good, thank you. No guests, so go through that.
Nope.
No new board members? Just that one?
Nope.
Okay. Citizens forum, no citizens?
There are citizens. Just
We
staff.
are.
They're staff.
Staff. Approval of the agenda.
That's so moved.
second.
Before you take a vote on the approval of the agenda, it was pointed out to me that we did not add an agenda item that needed to be added. It was next month, in the month of June. This meeting date is on June 19th, which is a federal holiday.
Oh,
And we will not be working that day since it's a holiday. If you wish to add that as an item, I have some talking points regarding that potential, not having that, but leaving it open for a possibility of having a special meeting if that is the board's desire.
Can you just make a proposal that next meeting be in July then?
there is special.
If you want to add that item as to the agenda for this meeting, I think that would be, that's what I suggest or ask.
Okay.
So we could do it as a new business item.
Yes.
D.
Yeah.
Let's say D on part 8.
So I don't have to amend approval of the agenda, we're just adding, we're adding, okay,
Yeah.
amend, yeah, so we'll call it.
Making a motion to approve
yeah,
the
new
agenda with
business.
the
So
addition
yeah,
of an item.
8D, okay, to look at
As amended or
the
something.
next meeting, okay.
So you want to amend your motion to say?
I amend, yeah,
to
I move
say
for that.
as amended. Okay, so you're including that.
And
So you
seconds,
amend
okay?
your second.
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposites, say same. Approved. Thank you. Approval of minutes.
I move we approve the minutes.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Okay, we'll go right straight to new business then.
Nope. Activity reports.
Yeah, activity reports is next.
Seven.
Before we get too far,
Oh, okay.
I've been
Jump
over
to-
there where they've put the fence around the locomotive, the train engine, and it really looks great.
Oh, good.
And, you know, at the top of the fence, they've got, you know, pointed things, so it'd be a little less inviting to crawl over and get in there. So it just works. It just fits right in with the train. It doesn't look bad at all.
Good. I'm glad. I have not seen it since it's been up. It was one of my items was today that, to tell you, that was one of my updates that it was supposed to be done this week, but it's already done. We've been waiting for that for some time. That vendor had their, fence contractors are very busy in this town.
Yeah.
And I'm glad you commented that it looks good. Thank you. As I normally do with regards to activity reports, I'll point out some items, and I won't be speaking to all of the items on the activity report. But if there are questions about something that I don't cover, please ask. A lot of activity. As you can tell, in March is kind of like the kickoff for better weather for spring. The new sculpture is installed at Oxbow Park. We've already had someone state that kids are climbing it, so we're getting some, Arts and Humanities is getting some signage to indicate no climbing. If you go over to Oxbow Park, I'll talk about it a little more later, but there's a playground going in there now. And so there's been some interest in Oxbow Park, which is great.
The sculpture looks real good there.
I agree. I think it looks really nice. I love the color.
Yep.
And something we haven't talked about, which is the third item under the parks accomplishments, there was a stormwater area coming from the north retention pond by Great Plains that feeds into Lakewood Pond. That stormwater pipe had eroded away from runoff and water, so that was we had to make sure that was not going to continue to be damaged, and we had that repaired. The Erickstein stage roof, or ceiling, I'm sorry, was put new acoustical ceiling texture there. The old texture had been starting to fall and fail, so we had that replaced. New picnic tables at Centennial Park, splash pad, Jerry Ivey storage area. There's a fenced off area behind the shop at Jerry Ivey on the south end of Jerry Ivey there. We'll eventually paint that fence. And for that Oxbow playground, we were awarded the funds for half the amount of the rubber mulch that will go into Oxbow playground from the state of Kansas for their waste tire grant program. Landscaping, again, the Kenwood Park train, park staff and landscaping staff spruced up the area underneath the train, added rock. During the spring spruce up, we had volunteers helping out with that as well. Landscaping staff also assisted with an additional temporary parking lot at Bill Burke.
I had a question about that. How do you make a temporary, what is it made of?
We were doing a pilot program as an overflow parking lot during large events at Bill Burke Park. So we had a design drawn up by a city engineer to follow, and guidelines and map and distances and dimensions to follow to create 52 additional spaces on the north end of Bill Burke Park during those huge events that we have at Bill Burke. We've had 2 or 3 of those so far this year. Didn't seem like that overflow parking had been used for those events for whatever reason, whether it be rain or other events going on. And really depends on how many spectators come to watch their family members play. But it was a pilot program to try to look at solutions for additional parking at Bill Burke.
So is it on the grass or is it on the?
It is on the grass.
Oh, okay. Do they make like lines?
Spray painted lines.
Oh, okay.
So the design and the dimensions had all those, had that lines on it, and we followed that plan with spray paint, with temporary kind of fences that we would use to put a rope on with flags to indicate the middle lane, and then you make a looped parking, go in one way and out the other.
Okay, thank you.
Arbor Day was April 26th, or it was in the month of April. We planted a tree through forestry in celebration of Arbor Day at Jerry Ivey Park. Lakewood, we have an apiary, which is a beehive at Indian Rock Park. And we stocked Lakewood Park with catfish. Kenwood Cove, you can see 142 staff members at Kenwood Cove hired for this summer. The pool is being filled I think the lap pool is already filled with the hopes that it gets warm enough for lifeguard training next week. We'll see what the temperature is. I don't know what the temperature is right now. I'm going to guess about 72 degrees. That's my guess.
I think it's warmer than that.
And the river, lazy river, is being filled, was being filled earlier this week. I think it's probably already filled at this point in time. Getting the filtration running this week for the lazy river.
So with the
72.
solar units there, will they have to put fencing or something around that? It could be kind of a nice wind block for Kenwood Cove.
Yeah, and I guess that since you brought up the solar, it will be fenced. There will be a fence that goes around the solar panels. And there's also be an additional fence, an additional gate that gets put in so staff can enter into a different way, because those solar panels kind of block where we normally come in for mowing and for large equipment and things like that. There will be an additional gate put on the west side. I'm not sure if that's west or not, but you'll see it when it comes in. But the idea of solar at Kenwood Cove was from our energy audit that we did through a consulting firm and design and engineering firm. Kenwood Cove, we pay a premium for power from Evergy, and we pay it every month. Doesn't matter if Kenwood Cove is in operation or not. The amount of electricity that Evergy is providing is substantial to run 40, 30 plus motors and pumps that are large. They call it demand pricing, and we're on a tier 3 demand pricing, which is high. So we're paying about $5,000 a month for power, whether we use it or not. And it's all there to use. However, we only use it for 3 months. So the idea is to try to invest in that solar so we can get that tier down to a tier 2 or tier 1, so we don't pay that monthly premium, or we pay less of a monthly premium for that significant energy infrastructure at Kenwood Cove. And that's the idea behind that solar. And if this works, I think we might see other solar. Putting it on the roof of Kenwood Cove was not feasible based on the roof that's there, but there's other places in town that are looking at similar solar projects. The YMCA called me this morning, asked me questions. The Salina Community Theater is also looking at solar for their building as well. So
Redoing the structures at the pool really look nice.
I'm sorry, say again.
The I don't know, huts or whatever everybody ends, they have all the, they've redid them this over the winter. The place where the sunbathing, or I mean, kind of they have the roofs on them.
I don't want the maybe cabanas.
Yeah, the cabanas. Yeah.
I don't think we redid them this year. We redid them last year.
They were doing some this year.
Oh.
Yeah, I went by. Yep.
Okay. I know we put up the shade structures every year. We take them down every year.
Maybe that's what they're doing, is the shade structures.
And I think I know we recently did some lattice over where the lockers used to be. And we did some lattice shade structures under there.
They're currently restrapping the chairs. If you hadn't noticed that, I think I had a nice little touch too. You know, they fade and over time.
That was the lattice that was going over that I saw. Yep, looks good.
Let's see. Golf course. Mike might want to talk about this a little more since Mike's here. But I was going to talk about the new cart fleet coming in and the well replacement that we're moving forward with. But if you want to talk about that, go for it.
I'm good here.
Yeah,
You didn't come to the podium. Sorry, man. So you can be on audio.
So, Mike Hargrave, manager at the Municipal Golf Course. Our new cart fleet, which has been approved, is supposed to arrive on the 24th of this month. It will come kind of unassembled, so to speak, so they'll have to put the canopies on, mount the coolers and whatnot, and hopefully the fleet will be ready to go by, I think, Friday of the next week. We have Guns N' Hoses host its annual event on June the 1st. and they already have 49 teams.
Nice.
So they always do a double shotgun. It will be, I had gotten in touch with Mike Asher and said, hey, I think your event's going to be the first one to get to test out the new cart. So we're really excited about getting the fleet, very appreciative of that being approved. Our current fleet is hanging in there for a couple of more events, but it will be nice to not have to gas them all the time, and the maintenance for the new carts will be much less. Overall maintenance for the carts will be much less than what it was when we had the gas fleet. So rounds are up this year. Our revenue is up compared to the same time last year. We're very grateful for that as well. Play is up. People are very excited about playing golf, so we're trying to do everything we can to provide a really pleasant, good experience when they come. So we've seen a lot of new faces this year, and we kind of hope that trend continues. And the 90 degrees I think I see on Monday or Sunday or something, hopefully that's not a precursor to getting to summer quite yet, but even so, golfers are a pretty hardy bunch, so we hope that these trends continue. So very happy for getting the fleet. I know our membership is very excited about it as well, and would entertain any questions if somebody has any.
Mike, how often do you guys replace those carts?
You know, last time we replaced was 2015.
Okay.
And prior to that time, we'd do 10 every couple of years, or 11 every few years. And the decision was made that we're probably better off, let's just do one fell swoop and get her done. And in 2015, they had planned on replacing it after 7 years. And with the new irrigation system that we got out the golf course, kind of bumped that off a little bit. So, you know, we told maintenance, you know, we're going to do a better job of keeping it in good shape, which they did. I mean, you know, considering all the maintenance that those gas carts require, our staff did a great job keeping that fleet viable. We're at 48 carts, we'll be 49, I think, on Friday. One is just a dead bird that is just not worth spending, I think, $2,000 on to get fixed since we have the new fleet coming in. So, you know, 2015, the only time we've had gas carts, 2015. And so that decision was made because primarily the warranty was 4 years at that time. And if the old lead acid batteries, as much as our carts are used, we would have got maybe a year and a half, maybe 2 years out of it. So that's why we went away from electric and went to gas for that last fleet. So
But these new ones are lithium
they are.
batteries.
We're excited about that. Very excited.
And what's the life expectancy of those?
You know, the warranty on these carts, 5 years on the battery.
Wow.
And the motor as well. So, and you know, in speaking with the other distributors, EasyGo, Club Car, and Yamaha, and we are getting a Yamaha fleet again, you know, the battery manufacturer's like, hey, these batteries are good for 10 years.
Yeah.
No problem. Take good care of them, they'll last you 10 years. And all the distributors are like,
Yeah.
will you stop saying that, please, so that we can sell some carts every 5 years or so. So anyway, 5 years is a very good warranty. From what I read, I think we'll be just fine.
Do you want to talk about the well repair? I've brought it up here before. It's been in here before. I didn't know if you wanted to touch base on that a little bit.
As some of you may be aware, the wells that we use to irrigate the golf course are down by on either side of Crawford Street. 3 wells to the south where Bill Burke Park is, 1 well to the north. We've, you know, in years past, we do our best to try to cut costs and everything, and so we have kind of cut corners a little bit here and there in trying to keep our costs manageable and in line with our revenue. And so those wells are kind of in need of some upgrading. 1 well in particular we're not even able to use at this time, and so we are requesting, we've made the request to senior staff and presented them with some estimates on getting all 4 of those wells in good working order, and then getting them on a rotation so that we can do the proper maintenance to them every few years, rotating through those 4 wells. So last year, 1 went down on us, and we kind of overused 1 well, underused another, but still the state, you know, we were up to be penalized pretty significantly for that, and through the help of staff and the state was understanding, and we avoided a pretty hefty fine to a very minimal amount, and so we're not going to let that happen again. And so we're hopeful that we can get those wells up to snuff and get them on a better rotation so that we don't have to deal with these types of repairs again.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments?
I believe that'd be about it.
Okay.
Thanks,
Thank
Mike.
you.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thanks, Mike.
I'll do facility maintenance real quick, and I'll let Travis speak about athletics and field house if he wishes. Facilities maintenance, when we had some electrical repair to do at Bill Burke from the contractor's damage that they did, they ran a we ran a trench. They ran a trench, and we used that time to put a spare conduit in for future purposes. We took a batting cage down at Berkley Family Recreation Area that was in between Wilbur and Dean Evans stadiums, the future Pestinger Family Stadium and Dean Evans Stadium. And we intend on trying to reuse that, structurally engineer a new spot for that batting cage at Bill Burke in the future, which I think will be a great addition to Bill Burke. And Kenwood Cove, there's a art installation of a glass mosaic tile along the backdrop of the lazy river there and of the wave pool that had not been refurbished or touched in the 14 years that Kenwood Cove has been open. It's a very important art piece. It's called Splash, and it is an art piece in our art inventory for the city of Salina. So that was cleaned, regrouted, and this year. And lastly, there's some pictures in there of the field house floor, the luxury vinyl tile that we have where there was polished and applied 3 layers of finish to that area. Go ahead, Travis, whenever you're ready.
I'll start out with the field house. Actually, it slows down a little bit in the spring, but with all the emphasis on the outdoor activities. But I didn't know if I mentioned to you guys that Salina Liberty does practice in there when the nets and the field's not set up at Tony's Pizza Event Center. So we do have the Salina Liberty in there quite a bit during the spring.
It changes the personality there a lot.
What's that?
It changes the personality there a lot.
Yeah. I don't go in there. Yeah. So, we did host an XW wrestling event. They came back, and we have a few more scheduled throughout the year. The main focus is outdoors. Wanted to mention this, that I think when I handed the baton to Dave Atterkirk to take over soccer, I think there was maybe 3 or 4 recreational teams. Now there's 35. Wow. So he's doing a tremendous job out there. So kudos to Dave. But the main focus is kind of youth baseball and softball right now, with practices going on full swing and tournaments. I did a quick study or report, and at the same time here in May, we're up about 40 to 50 teams where we were last year for tournaments. So that tells me that I think the renovations that we've done to Bill Burke Park and with turf and bathrooms, and it's starting to work. So that's a good number to have. But we're focusing on, we just released youth schedules for league for the summer, getting the coaches trainings, parent trainings done. So a lot of focus on that. We did host several tournaments this past April, totaling 158 teams. So had a great busy month of tournaments. I was down there during Chris Mize's tournament, and it didn't really dawn on me till then. We had the 40, 50-mile-an-hour winds that day, and to look around, and you could actually see people still across the complex, and it's not blowing that dirt. We did get a lot of positive comments on that. So not only is it acting as kind of an insurance policy of not getting rained out, it's acting as an enjoyable experience while they're there. So thought I'd mention that. I was approached, it was winter, from Brian Guyette with the yard. He said, I want to do this event. And he was trying to explain it to me. And I said, well, we're on board. And so the yard hosted the first annual Miracle Game. It is included in your packet. We listed a few pictures with that, and it's for individuals of all ages with disabilities. So it was a great event. We're estimating there was probably 600 people down there just in that fields 1, 2, and 3. And as the picture shows, the turf provided a nice, smooth surface for those individuals in the wheelchairs. We had a home run derby, food trucks, parade. It was a cool event. So we plan on making that an annual event, and already in discussions of how we're going to make it better for next year. So thought I'd mention that. If you have any questions, be glad to answer.
I second that. Any questions you might have as the overall packet, or anything that we didn't bring up, please ask.
Is the Pestinger Family Stadium, is it still on track for next week?
It's on track.
'Cause that's next week, right? State? Yeah.
Yes, it is next week, Memorial Day weekend. And we need to, there's some site work that needs to happen, and hopefully that occurs next week. But they intend on using that as a practice field for the state tournament.
Okay.
And
I guess weather could interfere with that, but
then the lighting gets added later.
a lighting will be added later. The lighting contractors are there now to do the underground work and bring utilities to the field. And then once that happens, then they'll be, you'll start seeing light poles arrive, but it'll be after the tournament for state tournament, but hopefully before the Grand Slam tournament, which is at the end of June.
Yeah.
End of June. That's the goal of Salina Baseball Enterprises.
Anything else on that? Okay, go to the community services on
Yeah, start there.
that. The community concerns related to special events on the runway.
I wanted to bring it to the board's attention. We've had 2 complaints come to the Parks and Recreation office through the special event permit process that the city allows people to apply to use our public spaces. And it's been a long-running event at the runway at Berkley Family Recreation Area to allow people to do the SCCA group to do car racing at the runway there. Part of the insurance requirements or the safety requirements of having that there requires the closure of some of the areas around that. The dog park is one of those areas that gets closed during those events. The people that are in the enjoyers and users of that dog park, I've got a handful of complaints to that, relating to that closure of the dog park while the event is occurring. They try to be sensitive to that. They do immediately make sure it's opened, and staff's usually ready to open it up when they're done to allow people to use the dog park. But it does impact their ability to enjoy the dog park. Wanted to bring it to the board's attention, and if there's any other information from the board that you might want on that, for that. But I wanted to make sure you were aware.
I wonder, are you given advance notice? I mean, maybe you could hang a sign a week or two ahead.
We post it on our social media. We post it on our website as these are the dates in which they give all the dates in advance, including KKOA.
Anything out there, though? I mean, like if you're just going.
Yes. No, I'm not sure about Fred. We do put a laminated sign at each dog park to indicate when it's going to be closed, so they have advance notification that it's going to be closed. I can see their point that it's, this is a public space we want to use this space. Why do we have to be told no? I thought it was important enough to bring it to the board's attention and to see if there's any other information you might want or things you might want to consider or information you might need. I don't know if that's
Is
the
it
case.
usually closed 4 to 8 hours or something?
I really don't know the time frame. It's usually 3-ish, I think, that they
Yeah,
get
that's what I
done.
thought. It's 3 hours, so yeah.
3 p.m. is what I'm saying. I think it's that's my recollection as to when they get done approximately.
Yeah, from about morning till 3 p.m. So
Yeah.
about 6-7 hours. Yeah.
We have had instances where cars have lost control of the driver's lost control of the car and done damage to our fence at the dog park, especially on that north side, that north corner. So that's a concern to us. We've considered and looked at costs relating to putting bollards, which would be, metal reinforced concrete structures just to reinforce that corner of the fence. The car people don't like that because if they ran into that, that would damage their car.
Yep.
So it's kind of a
I worry about themselves, but
Incentive
yeah, the
not to
car.
run into it.
So it's becoming, over the course of years, and I've worked here, we've had consistent complaints, and it seems to me that they're growing. And that's why I felt it's probably in my best interest to make sure the board's aware.
Are we not looking at other dog park possibilities so that could remedy some
We
of
are.
this?
We just Brett and I are just talking to design and engineering folks to give us a design for a dog park on the north end of town by Carver Center, by the animal shelter actually, and Carver and animal shelter, in that plot of land there just south of Carver Center. 3 small dog parks. So we are looking at future additional dog parks. Other dog parks, we are looking at other dog parks in other parks, which are probably going to be a more of a public forum type atmosphere where the communities from those neighborhoods need to give us feedback. And really, I might actually think about using this meeting someday to have that discussion. And to invite the Sunset Park neighborhood to come and discuss their dislikes and likes about the possibility of a dog park, or the Centennial Park neighborhood, or the Indian Rock neighborhood, whatever that park would look
That's
like.
not the only dog park now open to the public in Salina.
There is one behind the animal shelter.
Yeah, so that one's still open?
That's
Okay,
open,
that's
yeah.
what, okay.
But our preference would be to allow that whole space to be used by the animal shelter staff.
Yeah,
And
that's
then
what I
also make it possibly available for future improvements or an addition onto the animal shelter. And then that's kind of the intent of providing another dog park space on that north end of town near the animal shelter. Plus it would serve the north end of town, plus it would serve people who are coming off the highway, want to stop in with their animal. There's lots of benefits to having the additional dog park there. So, if there's any other questions about that or any other information that you may wish to staff to provide you in a future meeting, I'd be happy to do that regarding special events at the runway at Berkley Family.
Okay, consider recommendation to approve updated department mission.
The last page of your packet is something that's been, the current mission statement of the Salina Parks and Recreation is, I felt, needed updated. And I'm proposing to you the updated mission statement of our department. And I would be able to answer any questions that you might have or any changes you want to occur. My intent, my process was to try to encompass what we do, not get into a lot of specifics, but try to encompass everything we do and the purpose that we serve the community. And that was my intent with the proposed mission statement.
I had the thought that, well, I was trying to think, the last 3 words, play, recreation, and nature, I guess that's 4 words, but I was thinking health and fitness are sort of in there too. I don't know how many words you want to go to, but
Well, I would say fitness is not something that we do a lot of. And we're kind of intentional about not getting into the fitness realm because we don't want to be competitors with the YMCA. Certainly health could be a term that we could look at incorporating. We don't want to be competitors with the YMCA. We want to be somewhat collaborative with the YMCA.
I have a question, on the current one, you serve the citizens of Salina. I kind of feel like that citizens of Salina could be put in there. We are committed to providing the citizens of Salina a high standard of natural areas.
I agree. A lot of things we do here are not, we do everything for the citizens of Salina, but everything we offer is open to people that are outside of the Salina city limits as well.
that's right.
We don't differentiate in any of our programs or any of our parks, of course, between a non-resident and a resident. Just putting it out there. But yes, our primary purpose is the citizens of Salina. I think I tried to capture that with in service to the Salina community.
Yeah, I like that.
And I tried to capture play with competitiveness, with sport, and then recreation and nature.
I've just been hearing about how the youngest generation right now is getting nearsighted because they spend all the time looking at their phone and not being outside looking around. So
Yeah,
that's a health and
yeah.
welfare kind
Absolutely.
of thing.
So I think from what I'm hearing, maybe I should look at it again, provide some more edits.
It's pretty close.
I don't know if he'd read what you said, maybe we can just approve it, what you've edited.
What if, Ms. Zimmerman, if I added the word health?
I'd feel better.
So we're committed to
Healthier.
provide, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Healthier. I'd feel healthier. But sorry.
We are committed to providing the citizens of Salina a high standard of natural areas, programs, and facilities in service to the Salina community and to foster a profound appreciation for and an active involvement in play, recreation, and health and nature. I probably messed that up, but
If you take that one out, you're fine. Recreation, comma, health.
oh,
We're not doing anything to the first paragraph, right?
Well, the first one, you mean the current?
But
He's taking it out. He's completely replacing that one with the second one.
okay, all right.
yes.
All right.
Well, how about I look at it again a little closer and I'll come back next month?
Sounds a good idea.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, Jerry Ivey Memorial Park, splash pad.
This is informational for the board. The splash pad at Jerry Ivey is having some problems. We have did some investigation. It's not currently open. We opened our splash pads typically May 1st. The other 2 splash pads in town, which are at Centennial Park and Hawthorne Park, are open, operational. Jerry Ivey, in our efforts to get it open, we discovered some problems, and those problems are with underground plumbing. We did some investigation with several different staff members or different departments to use devices to examine the interior of the plumbing. And some of these plumbing lines are 2-inch lines or 1-inch lines. And there's cameras that can go into those plumbing lines, and we found several breaks or several areas where there's sand in those lines. And it's quite pervasive, the amount of breaks that there are, most likely due to settling of that structure or weakened pipe in some fashion. I have a meeting this week with the city manager's office to determine our next course of action. But the 2 courses of action that I'm looking at are, one is to remove all the concrete from that structure to expose all of that plumbing and replace it all, or move forward with a plan to, which we talked about with the overall Jerry Ivey Park improvements, and looking at a different location altogether, and looking at a new location for that splash pad in a different location at Jerry Ivey. It's that problematic, that plumbing. There are other smaller problems that go along with that splash pad. There's some settling on the where the pump pit sits. We had an evaluation of by a aquatic engineer company from just Kansas City, Kansas area, and they had a lot of things to say about its operation. A lot of it's underground, so we have to get underground to do some of the in a pit in the ground. We have to get into a confined space to do some of the work in there. It hasn't seen its day. It was put in 2007 and opened in 2008 to the community. So we have some decisions to make, but I wanted to make sure the board was informed that it'll be a significant time before we're able to reopen that splash pad. I don't know when that timeline will be, but we're making some steps to make something happen. If there's any questions about that, I'd be happy to answer.
Well, it doesn't appear, Okay. Have a traffic to the next meeting.
Yes. So June 19th is a holiday, as I said before. That is the regularly scheduled meeting of this board. We will not be here that day, so you can show up, but we will not be here. So there could be an item that's coming up that is of a time-sensitive nature. Well, let me back up a little bit. Typically, June or July, we don't have a lot of things to report to the board, or we do not have a lot of items of consequence to provide the board. We have in the past occasionally scheduled cancel those meetings because of lack of an agenda. We occasionally not had a quorum. People take vacations. It's summer. My recommendation would be to not hold that meeting, cancel that June meeting. However, if something comes up that is an item of timeliness, where such as a item relating to the municipal naming guidelines, where there's a timeline I have to follow, I might want to ask your ability and your willingness to have a special meeting to conduct that. And we can do that. Doesn't have to be in this room per se. It could be in a different meeting room in this building. If that's acceptable to the board, I think that'd be the way to handle that. You certainly can disagree with me, and but that's what I'm thinking.
I'm just looking at my calendar, and I can do the Wednesday before or the Wednesday after, which I'm kind of surprised at, but I don't know what other people think.
Okay.
But you're talking more about, it could be on a Tuesday or.
It could be any day of the week. If we do a
Yes.
special meeting, it could be when you're available. We have other meeting rooms in this building or in Parks and Recreation. Doesn't have to be televised like this meeting is per se. It could be like we had a special meeting in the room 105 for baseball enterprises, which we had because it was a timeliness thing. We had to fit a timeline, and we had a commission meeting on this date. We had to get this done by this date. Sometimes those things happen, and that's why that special meeting possibility or option exists.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Okay.
You need
I don't know if you need
on
to take a
that?
motion on
I
that.
think we need a motion.
Might be helpful.
Well, I make a motion that we cancel the June meeting with the possibility that if there is a special meeting that's needed, we would find a date that works.
I'll second.
That's a good motion.
I agree. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Second.
Oh, he did.
Yeah, we said,
Yeah?
yeah.
Okay.
Kevin did.
My apologies. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Okay.
I don't have any, sorry.
Any old business?
I don't have any old business. I guess projects could be old business.
How about project updates?
Sure thing. One project update that I neglected to add was we just started Oxbow Playground. We started excavating last week, and we are finishing that up today, I believe. And the installers are on site yesterday. That's exciting. And I think the timing should work out pretty well, where we have a delivery of rubber mulch, maybe. So we can finish that off and maybe be done by the end of June. That's what I'm hoping for. Oakdale Skating Pond. I know that the water distribution folks finished up their work to cap off the lines that were feeding water to that former skating pond. I think we were backfilling, and then and I don't know if there's an update more than that. Do you know if they backfilled that already, Dennis?
So yeah, we got it all finished up. We backfilled. We're just we're debating on waiting to reseed till after the Riverfest and just keeping it roped off for now, and then going back in with maybe Bermuda and letting Bermuda take over.
Thank you. Pestinger Family Stadium, I gave a brief update already, but the turf field is done. We have an item on our plate to make a determination actually tomorrow about those sidewalk concrete improvements. And fencing is going along the way. We're making some improvements to the bullpen areas at Dean Evans and Pestinger Family Stadium to reinforce the back of that bullpen. Scoreboards being refinished at Dean Evans. Scoreboard should be going in at Pestinger. Do you know when?
It's before the Grand Slam.
Yeah, before the Grand Slam. So it's moving right along. Tennis center bathrooms are done. We are in some talks with we're not super happy with the flooring from the product at the tennis center bathrooms. We don't like the finished epoxy floor in the tennis bathrooms. The color is not the color that we chose. So if you've ever been inside Bill Burke bathrooms, it's that Pacific deep blue color. That's what we got delivered, but that's not what we put down on the floor. So we're trying to kind of pause until the end of June. Well, that's our deadline, is the end of June, to resolve this and try to say this material is not what we ordered. It's not the right color. We want to be consistent about our color choice because we have 52 more spaces to do. We want to have some consistency with the floor and the wall. and how they look. We want it to look like Bill Burke, and doesn't look like Bill Burke. It is ready to use. Otherwise,
Looks nice.
tennis center.
Yeah.
You been in there? Oh, good. It does look nice. It's not the color that we wanted, and it
I didn't know that. It looked nice otherwise.
it has more white in it than we desire.
While we're on tennis complex, I noticed that about 6 or 4 of the east tennis courts have their like a barrier of some kind.
Yeah, they're finishing up warranty work for the caulking that goes around the perimeter of the courts.
Oh, okay.
So they prevent access while that cures. Apparently, over the course of time, where post-tension concrete meets cast-in-place concrete, it moves. And it'll move substantially in the course of over the 12 to 18 months after a project starts or ends. So they're waiting to the 18-month mark. And that's going on right now, is they're finishing up that re-caulking of the areas in which those post-tension slabs meet the cast-in-place slabs. So that should be, they should be done here soon. It's 48-hour, 72-hour cure. I think the rain might put a little bit of a play in that, where it changes that cure schedule, but yeah. I think concrete improvements is done for phase 3. I don't.
I talked to Mike today, and yeah, he is done. He said all they gotta do is reseed.
Okay. Oh, they got to reseed. Okay, good. I noticed that's one thing that didn't get done was reseeding yet. So, and that was at the tennis center and at Indian Rock Park. I believe Dennis did have a conversation with them about doing some additional concrete work, and they're supposed to be getting us a price for that as well. Miscellaneous items, lighting. We put in 3 overnight or solar lights at 3 different playgrounds. Pacific Park, East Crawford Playground, or Berkley Family Playground, Pacific, East Crawford, and Thomas Park. Thank you. There are solar lights there to give some sense of safety and security if someone's using the playground at night. Painting. Friendship Center will be finished up painting. We're painting Friendship Center, and that'll be done by the end of the week, weather pending. And then we talked about the terrain fencing. That's completed. One thing I forgot to mention was there's 3 shade structures that we're putting up at Bill Burke. There were 3 fields of the 8 there that did not have shade structures. Those will be starting this week or the start of next week to get those additional 3 shade structures up. So then once that's completed, all 8 fields at Burke will have a shade structure behind the backstop. And then we'll be moving on to Oakdale for a shelter house at Oakdale that needs to be refinished or redone. And then there's 2 shelter houses at Burke. We need to redo those as well. So. A lot of projects, a lot of small ones. I wouldn't say they're big projects, but a lot of small projects. And that's all I had in that section.
Any general announcements?
Could I ask a question? I noticed at the city commission meeting they were talking about shade structures for the stage over here. Are you, or is Parks and Rec in charge of the stage too? The one off of Santa Fe.
That whole area is a lot of hands. Our hand in that is, I guess, our fingers in that would be landscaping, trees, electric, things that are relating to the maintenance of the plazas, and I would kind of consider that a plaza, even though it's a parking lot. We have our facilities maintenance superintendent is assisting with the shade structures in that space, more for a construction point of view, and a scope of work and probably that he would be responsible for the installation of those or the overseeing someone installing those. There's lots of hands in that, whether it be arts and humanities, public works, parks and recreation, Salina downtown. It's kind of a multi-department effort. So,
And you got the River Festival coming up.
you know,
So I noticed that the city postponed the raising the prices on
yes,
the baseball fields, right?
correct.
Do you know what their concerns were?
If I think their concerns were the amount of play that Dean Evans has as compared to what certain groups invested in the construction or the improvement of it versus what they pay for the rental of that space.
And there's actually a advisory committee that oversees that fee structure, which I didn't know about until I watched the city commission meeting, so.
Right.
Yeah.
There's a part of the original development agreement with Salina Baseball Enterprises, which was a partner with the city and USD 305 and Kansas Wesleyan. There was a creation of a separate board, originally called the East Crawford Recreation Area Board. Now it's called the Berkley Family Recreational Area Board. And they meet quarterly, and that board specifically responsible for rules, fees, use. So basically, we need to come up with some different options and go back to that board and discuss those options.
Thank you.
I was just kind of curious, on that Eric Stein stage, are they planning on going ahead and put that sunscreen up, or what are they going to do with that?
I don't have any updates relating to that. The people that spoke to you before here, their job was kind of done. What they did was the kind of the conceptual design, trying to get funding for the design and engineering of it so that they can go to bid. As you heard from Brad Anderson, the Arts and Humanities Director, they are intending on trying to fundraise for donations, sponsorships for that project to be done. That'll take a little bit of time, of course, to do that, but that's something that is important to the city. It's important to the River Festival to have that as a more of a higher prominent entertainment space. I think it'll have benefits to Parks and Recreation. It might give some more use to Eric Stein stage with in my opinion, from the downtown stage at the corner of Ash and Santa Fe has kind of pulled a lot of the traffic of entertainment stages away from Eric Stein, and it's now downtown. I think there's opportunity to make Eric Stein better, and I think we can get some other things going on there, not just River Festival or not just the Salina Municipal Band. So that's a possibility.
Okay, I just got one more question. How can you find out about some of the bands, like the symphonies at Eric Stein and ones downtown at night, Santa Fe? How can you get a schedule or something like that?
I don't produce a schedule for the stage downtown. Salina Downtown does, and they post it on their website and they post it on their Facebook pages. I think for Eric Stein, there's not a lot of activity there. The only thing that I'm aware of is I think it's Monday or Tuesday nights the Salina Municipal Band plays there. I think it's Tuesday nights, starting after Memorial Day. We do not publish a schedule of when they're playing. They kind of do their own promotion and marketing of their own performances.
There are things on 4th of July, too.
Yeah, 4th of July for our event. They do. We have Play Day in the Park, and Salina Municipal Band will be there for that event.
Make a motion to adjourn.
I so move.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Motion passed.